Hello and welcome to another amazing summit interview. I have yet one more incredible, successful woman from around the world owning her own business, running it online. Welcome, Miss Sharika Kellogg. Woo!
Thank you. Thank you.
Like, I think I should get sound effects, like a sound effects bar.
Yes, just yeah.
Now, I am in Detroit. For those who have been watching and listening along, Sharika, tell everyone where you are today.
I am in West Palm Beach, Florida. And although it should be sunny, it is not today.
That is my two favorite words, palm and beach.
Yes, all day, every day.
It sounds amazing. I love it. Now, are you originally from there?
No, I am from New Jersey. Born and bred New Jersey girl all the way. Still have not forget my Jersey roots. So yeah, came on vacation and never went home.
I love it. And of course, as a New Yorker, I'm always like, what exit?
Oh, exit 5.
Yeah. There you go. I love it. I love it. So for those of us who are watching this, I know that we can read about you and talk and read your social media and what's on your website. But I know that oftentimes just scratches the surface. So before we get into the big stuff about business, which I definitely cannot wait to get into, I think it's important, especially for those listening who might only be at the point where they're just considering going into the online space or what they might even want to do when they grow up, kind of thing. Either once the youngest goes to kindergarten, or once nap times get regular, or once the kids grow up and leave the house, or once they're just ready. It sometimes helps to get that backstory to relate from where we come from. So if you wouldn't mind sharing a little bit about your backstory.
Okay. Well, it's funny that I'm even in the online space because I worked for a internet publishing company for 10 years. And I vowed never to be in the online space if I ever left that company. But I was, they downsized. I was doing the work of 3 different departments, and they downsized. And so as I was walking out the door from, getting my box of stuff and my letter of separation, I was instantly on the phone with one of my former bosses from that job, getting another job in the online internet space. And so I worked for basically financial newsletters. Know nothing about finances, by the way, but I did this for 10 years. So I knew it inside and out. And I went to work for this gentleman for a year, and my heart wasn't in it anymore. Like I couldn't do it anymore. And at that point in time, I had also taken on my second son from foster care. So I had 2 babies under the age of 1. I was driving 2 hours to work, and I had sick babies because it was wintertime even in Florida. So they were always sick, and I was missing work a lot and things like that. And one day I got this amazing text message from my boss that says, "You're not doing mommy and right. So you should consider giving back one of your sons until you get it right, and then revisit the well." And I was like, and it was Christmas Eve almost, like maybe 2 days before Christmas Eve. And I was like, what? At first I was like, oh man, I'm doing a bad job at work. I'm going to get fired. All those things went through your head like, oh my goodness, what am I going to do? It's Christmas. I'm not going to have any money. And then I got angry. And I started firing back texts to him because he was like a brother. He still is. And I was just like, you wouldn't tell a pregnant woman, to not have her second child because she was sick with morning sickness. So I was just different. And I was just like, I was over it. And that night after we went back and forth with our text messages, we ended it on, I needed to have a review and we needed to talk about how things were going to go in the new year. I sat down, I went on Facebook and looked up virtual assistants. And I signed up for a course to be a virtual assistant. And I started creating my business, which was Virtual Expectations at that point. And I had no idea what I was doing. I was just like, well, something has to be better than this. Driving 2 hours, my kids were in daycare from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. I paid more in late fees than I did actual tuition. So I worked tirelessly for a week and a half that we were off for Christmas. And then when we went back for our review of my attendance and behaviors and things like that, I didn't even let him get started. I just handed him my resignation letter and started my own business in the virtual space. And it's been a rocky roller coaster. I mean, I love being a virtual assistant, but I didn't mesh well with all my clients, and I lost clients and I gained clients and lost some more. And then finally I revamped my company and changed things. And I am now an online business manager for internet businesses, but I take on select clients and and it's been profitable. I went from $487.15 in my bank account that January to being able to take my kids to Disney and travel every summer with them. So it's been a blessing in disguise. So.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think that you have such a unique story, and it's also, there's parts of it that I don't know if you want to share. But
Yeah.
Little pieces that I think and my sons from foster care.
Oh yeah.
I think that's a real big part of what you're kind of leading into, like with what you do now. I think it's really exciting to hear where it's come. But let's start with where it started, because I think that's where most people, they're like, we put so much weight and pressure on ourselves, we think we can never do more.
Well, the reason why I said, okay, I'm going to take this plunge in this leap was because I was a foster mom. So I have 3 little boys. I'm a choice mom. I'm single. I have 3 little men that think they're my husband. So I'm not single, actually. And at the time, that's my passion, to help little children that are in state care that need love. So at that time, I said, what can I do to be able to be full-time with this passion, help the children that I bring into my home, and support them financially? And that's kind of how I got into this space. I now have, like I said, 3 little boys. At that time I had 2, and they're all adopted. And we are actually gearing up to get our next little person in our home too. So
that is awesome. Now, of course, it begs the question, we all have inspiration in our life that drives our actions. And so if I were to ask you where that inspiration to have this choice family came from, would you mind sharing that a little bit?
Absolutely. So I spent over $100,000 trying to have my own child. I was always one of those little girls that wanted to be a mommy. So my baby dolls were meticulous, and even to this day, my mom still has some of them, and she's like, they still have their clothes on, their hairs are still perfect. I was that person. So I always wanted to be a mom. And even as I was trying to have my own biological children, I was doing it as a choice mom. I was donor sperm, IVF. I could have had my Tesla by now, type of thing. And I was just like, well, I'd rather have a family. And on my last IVF whole procedure, I decided my father had passed away. I wanted to have a family of my own. And so I decided I'm going to go all in. And I'm one of those people. I stacked it. So I started doing my IVF procedure for my last one. I started my foster care class, and I started looking for a house to bring my family home to. And then on my dad's birthday, I had my egg retrieval. I closed on my house, and I got my foster license.
Oh my God, I'm like getting all kinds of chills. He totally did that, right?
Yes. Oh. And then a year later, on his birthday, I adopted my first child.
Oh my.
Well, actually, 3 years later, 3 years later.
I am like, oh, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Oh my
so
God.
His birthday has a lot of meaning of home. So May 6th is like our home day. Like, it's my son's gotcha day. It's the day that we all, I brought him home as a Kellogg, and, so that's what we call our home day. It's, he went, that's my dad's birthday. So it was like a driving force, and everybody's like, it was like, I'm closing on my house, and I'm like, I got to get to Miami because I have to get my eggs put back in. And they're like, what? And I'm like, just give me the keys.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And, and on my 38th birthday, I was supposed to go clubbing, and I got a pizza delivery that turned out to be a little 4-month-old little boy, and he turned 6 this year. Oh. So he has been with me ever since, so yeah.
Oh my gosh. There's so much love there, and so many pieces of what I know of you now from a business perspective, because we met professionally, and I didn't know all this backstory. And then as I started learning it more and more, and still am, it all just comes so clear as to why you're so passionate and so good at what you do. You truly are, that mother figure. And I just see it so much in the work that you do. And you're evolving your business now as well. Virtual Expectations is still thriving, but there's this other arm of your business that is starting to kind of see the light of day. Can you share a little bit more about that? Because I think the evolution that people see is they always see chapter 20 and they don't know what the preface was.
Well, it's funny because I don't know if any of your listeners have gone through the infertility train, as we like to call it, but to get to a family or to get your family, you don't basically take the same track. You kind of have to veer off and take another track. There might be a train that has to wait their 8 hours to get to sleep or whatever, and you have to go around that. So that's kind of like my infertility road. I was going to get to the end of my journey some way, but the journey always continues. And I feel like my business is like that. So I have my 3 little boys. I'm happy, they're home, they're with me. I know they're not going anywhere. And I was an all-in mom, so I'm doing therapy. I'm doing everything on my own, not asking for a lot of help. I felt like I had to prove, to my old boss that let me go that I could do this. And I had no one to talk to, which birthed 25/8 Mom. And it was a podcast to start with. It was just like, I want to talk to people. I don't care if they don't talk back to me, but at least I'm not talking to myself and answering. So I started this podcast, just talking to moms, telling them, what I learned, because my oldest son was literally 5 years old before I took my own vacation, and he was 4 years old before I even allowed a babysitter to come in for 2 hours just to give me a break. And I thought I didn't deserve that break. And I feel like there's a lot of moms that say, I have to do it. This is what my job is as a mom, to do everything for the whole family, whether you're married or single, and you don't take any time for yourself. And I started recognizing that. Like, I had to do a lot of mindset work to say, it's okay for you to get a babysitter and go to the movies. And it took me to go see my online husband, Vin Diesel. He doesn't know that. I was like, Fast and Furious is coming out. I got 3 kids. I'm not missing my opening night. Like, that was it. And I was just like, I'm going to get a babysitter. I'm going to the movies by myself, and I'm going to enjoy myself and not be worried. And for 2.5 hours, I sat in that movie theater eating popcorn and Twizzlers with this big cheesy grin on my face. And I just felt so free. And I was like, should I feel guilty? Like, I'm like, no, I feel great. This is awesome. And no lie, when I got out, when the movie was over and the last credits went, I pulled out my phone and I was back in mom mode. But I gave myself those 2 hours. And so that's what I started my podcast about. Like, you are allowed to have this me time, mom essential time. That's what it is. It is mom essential time, me time. And you should take it every day, at least a little bit of time, because it clears your mind. It gets you refreshed and revived to do whatever you need to do. And it keeps you going. And so I talked to my girlfriends about it, and I talked to my cousins and everyone about it. Like, you need to take that time for yourself, or you're just going to burn out. And burnout could come in so many ways. It could just be exhaustion. It could be sickness. It could be yelling at your kids. I mean, so just really need to take it. And that's kind of how I got into 25/8 Mom. And then someone was like, can you work with me a little bit more on how to keep my me time going? So I created a system, which came in handy when this quarantine things happened, but it was like a data dump list, which allowed me to kind of batch my day and make sure that I was on track with everything. Because as a mom, you forget things. Maybe your kid at school, maybe not, who knows? But it allowed you to keep it going, your day going, and keep track of where you are with your time so that you know to schedule in that hard stop in me time.
That's so different. I remember walking me through this system and all the different pieces that are just geared towards mom, how we think. Because when we feed the kid, make the kids lunch, whether it's in the morning because they're off to school, or whether it's because we have to prepare their lunch so we can work through lunch, or whatever we're doing. Let's say we're just taking, it's 8 a.m. on our day and we're prepping their lunch for the day. we're already like making the grocery list. Okay, oh, milk is low. Okay, right. Like, so as we go through our daily activities, we have these tabs open. And so you've created a system that allows us to take that information that's already happening in our brain, as opposed to being on sticky notes or on whiteboards or, you know, just slathered all around. It's this one central location. And I know that that also became a planner.
Yeah, it did. It became a planner because I'm not a fan of shopping lists, and I'm not a fan of grocery stores at all. Mind you, Instacart is my buddy, but it still gives me heart palpitations to do Instacart because I always feel like I'm forgetting something. So the planner helps me with, it's the data dump list. It helped me with identifying priorities in my day like that I had to do. You know, yes, we're moms. There's a ton of stuff that we have to do in one, you know, in a day. But what really needs to be done today? That's what I needed to know, especially when it comes to the business side and the personal side, because there's always going to be interruptions. But what do we have to get done, and how are we going to get it done? So I always say identify 4 things to make myself feel like I accomplished something. And then I get that done. And then the other thing that I also have in the planner is a shopping list that is geared towards. Sorry.
My tablet is too hard.
Okay.
So is my computer.
Yes. Sorry.
I love it. I love that little voice.
He knew. And the other thing that I have in the planner is this shopping list that is geared towards mom. Like, what are mom snacks? Because I always forget about myself when I get there. Or, oh my gosh, I got the ketchup, but I forgot the mayonnaise. So like, what are the household things? And like, it's just broken up a little different because you don't have to do everything at once. So let's concentrate on what needs to be done. Is it snacks for the kids so that you have a whole week's full of lunch, or what is it? And you know, the planners, just, I've seen different planners. I've worked with a whole bunch of planners. Me and my best friend buy planners every quarter for each other, and they never work out. So
Agreed.
that's why it was created.
Agreed. I love your planner. And I love that it also has the business side, right? So it's like, but as we're doing our business throughout the day, whether it's the work that we do for our children and preparing their meals, or, you know, guiding them in some way, or when I'm doing work with clients, I'm answering a Voxer, it reminds me, oh, wait, I do have this other thing I have to do over here, because our brains are always.
Yeah, we never stop. It does not stop. Yes.
Exactly. And regardless, single or married, I feel like so many women, we are the head of the household in that way. I mean, my husband's really like hands off the wheel, like, whatever you want, honey. Happy wife, happy life. He just. So it's not as if I like need him. Like, I'm not like, so what do you want to have on the whatever the list, or what do you want to do now? It's just we're.
It's more like he's asking you, what are we doing now?
Yeah. I was always told I would have 1.5 children, and I never knew what that meant until recently.
You just have one that's working.
Right. Exactly. One that's bringing in the bread, right? Oh my gosh, it's so true. I mean, it's that me time, mom essential time, and we hear it and we know it should happen, but how do we structure that day? That's why I love your system and I love your planner so much. So what are some other ways that women who are listening to this now can, or in the future may soon be able to, work with you?
Well, one thing that I've learned as a mom, and yes, I mean, I'm really big into mindset work. So I like to say, you know, shift your mindset, you know, get that shift going, you know. So I created a course that helps women shift their mindset on goals. Because, I mean, as a mom, we all have goals. We have small goals that we have to meet every day, and we have large goals that we want to get, like going to Disney. Like, I really want to get to Hawaii to Disney, and I had to figure that out. Like, how am I going to do that with 3 kids under the age of 6 on a plane, kicking a seat, you know, like things like that. So, but my overall goal is to get us there, you know, and but I was creating my goals wrong. And people don't understand that. Like, oh, I have a goal of losing 15 pounds. That's great. What things are you going to put in place to get to that goal? And how's your mind set up to get to that goal? Because I've had a lot of goals that have fizzled out. And, you know, accountability is great, but if you don't have that accountability, it's never going to happen. So the next course that I have created and soon to be hitting the online spaces is my goal setting program, which is it's called the sorry, motivating our mindsets system. So it's a class. It has a workbook to it. It's really cool. I'm really proud of it. It's like it's maybe my fourth baby.
I have been lucky enough to get a preview of that, and I can tell you it's awesome. It's amazing. And it's so different having a goal but not having accountability or steps to get there.
Right.
So accountability that we place on ourselves that we can reflect back with, and having the exact steps to get there.
Right.
Including some wine and Capri Sun along the way.
Yes. Thank you.
Exactly. So, working, having your business, having really two sides of your business, the consulting side and the done for you side, having your family life, being the sole provider for your family.
Yeah.
I know you have some things that work for you. I mean, there's a lot of people that look at you from the outside in Sharika, and they're like, this woman has it going on, right? But inside of our own head, we're like, I didn't do this.
I know. Like, I don't have it going on. I don't.
You do. So some words of wisdom, some pearls, if you will, for those of the women that are listening now that are kind of been following along in the journey. What I call they write them down, put them in your notebooks. What are some key things that you might be willing to share with us that you usually only share with your paying clients?
Well, one of the things I would definitely say is work on that mindset. So don't think that you have to do it all yourself. That is number one. Even as a single choice mom who is by herself, no adults in the house, 3 children, I actually I learned not to do it myself. I incorporate the kids. Like, they are my youngest clients. So if you release the old beliefs that you are stressing yourself out and weighing yourself down, or you have to do it all yourself, you don't. And don't think you have to get everything done today. Get what you need to get done today, and also have fun doing it. So it's kind of weird to say that, like, especially if you have a deadline, but just be like, good music, incorporate everyone. It releases that stress. So make sure your mind is in the right place when you're trying to get that work done, even if it's housework and folding clothes, which I don't like to do, but I do. So let it go, conserve your sanity, have fun with your life and your family. That's my first tip for you. And then the second one will actually be kind of a tie into the first one, is be super flexible. So as I said, you're not going to get it all done today. Don't stress yourself. Prioritize would be the third one. Because if you prioritize what you need to get done, like work, large projects like busted pipes in your bathroom, family time, me time, mom essential time, those are things that you should prioritize in your life, and be flexible with everything else. So those are my 3 big keys for moms that are trying to get things done or feeling overwhelmed about not getting things done. Just give yourself grace. You're not going to get it all done, but you will get it done when it needs to be done.
I love it. And having your planner also, I am able to look at it because and say, what did I do today?
Right.
And so many times before I had your planner, I was thinking, I didn't do anything today. I worked, and I don't even know what. I can't quantify exactly what went down, but I know that I'm exhausted and everyone is complaining.
Yeah,
right?
Definitely.
So it helps me by having that framework in front of me. I'm able to quantify what I did, which makes me feel accomplished, at least to a certain extent. Like, okay, this is done. I'm able to look back and say, okay, here's what I need to do tomorrow, because brain down, mom essential time.
Yes, exactly.
And because I'm giving myself that grace, I'm a little more kind and I'm a little more gentle on myself and on the family.
Yeah,
because a lot of times, if I'm stressing out, my son and my husband,
everybody is,
and the dogs are the first ones to know. Yeah, because I'll be like,
I know.
Right. And we're
having peanut butter and jelly. They're like, what?
I know.
What's that for dinner?
I love it. I think that you have really shared such great wisdom with us today. And for those of you listening, make sure you click on all the links, follow Sharika on all the platforms, and reach out to her. I know that she personally, if you email her, she will definitely respond. So thank you so much, Sharika, for coming on today and being a big, big, big part of the summit and its success.
Thank you for having me.